Hello. Hello, hello, hello. How are you today? Today is, and I love date stamping this, it is March 9th, 2025. And I am very excited to have you with me today on this podcast. It is so empowering to be inspired through other people's stories and through what life brings us. I am looking forward to sharing a little bit more about today's episode, Authentically You. And this is episode 185, and I'm excited. Um, the reason why I am so excited about today's episode is you never know where life is going to bring us. You never know what brings us full circle. It is quite a surprise to see where you land today and every day. And many times life passes us by so quickly that we don't stop and realize if we are really being the version of us that is real and true and liberating and liberated and a person who has evolved and a person who authentically knows exactly where they're at. Today, we're going to go over some tips, some tricks. We're going to go over some tactical information and then how to apply it in a practical sense in your life. Last episode I did, it was called What is Hiding Costing You? And it was really about hiding and self silencing, which in many ways can look like people pleasing. In many ways, we don't realize that that itself is a defense mechanism, especially in the wrong environment. But you see, a lot of people who are people pleasing, they're not living with self integrity. And a more common way of saying that in today's society is they're not living authentically. And when you're not living in accordance to your priorities, your desires, and your values, that normally means that you really don't truly know yourself. So, this episode is going to be a great way to peel back the layers of that onion and really truly understand a little bit more about you because life is too short. Life is too short to worry about ruffling feathers, upsetting other people, or really hiding behind the curtain. I know it feels safer to live by societal expectations. I know this. I've been in corporate Canada most of my life, 30 plus years. And I followed the expectations of society. When it comes to the traditional path, it doesn't work for me. And I'm not saying I can't do that. I'm just saying that's authentically not who I am. The person who I am, the person who shows up for you today and every day in one way or another, she loves nature. She loves her dog. She loves dogs. She loves people. She loves digging deep in information and really geeking out into the person that she is. And I want today to bring you into that. I want to let you know that it is safe for you to be who you are. There's a trap in today's society, and that's by being overly busy. And when we are overly busy, we purposely, and I'm going to say that again, when we are overly busy, we purposely don't make time for ourselves. We're too busy for that, right? We're too busy working one or two jobs, or maybe a job in our side hustle and raising the kids and having a relationship and then being part of Bible study and going to church or whatever your life looks like to you. But I have spent so many of my years filling those gaps. So I didn't have to sit still in my own silence and figure out who I am. Over the last couple of years throughout my healing journey, I've had a different story. And that is the story I really want to share with you today. I have found ways of breaking that cycle. I've dedicated the last couple of years while I've been on this medical leave, while I've been healing, to really get to know the person that I am. Not the things that I think I like to do, although it might start there, but maybe what those things evolve to, maybe where those conversations lead. Being curious to where that network and that support of people who I like to be around, where that's taking me to, and where things like yesterday's International Women's Day conference that I attended in Markham, Ontario, Canada, for those that are listening internationally, where that event, where the beginning of that is going to land. I might be a speaker on the stage next year. Who knows yet? But it starts somewhere, and it really starts with discovering who it is that I am. One of the greatest regrets in life is being what other people want you to be rather than being yourself. And I have another quote for you as well that I really wanted to start with today. But I did start with it. So we're going to say it now. But once you realize perfection is unattainable, you begin to give authentically of yourself. You really look at life differently once you realize that time is precious. Time is the most precious commodity. We don't get time back. We can exchange things in exchange for time, but most people still aren't using that time wisely. And then when we can't be perfect, you know, for any followers of Abraham, Abraham Hicks, Jerry and Esther Hicks, together along with Spirit is Abraham. And along with those teachings, it is said that you will never get it done. And what's the other one? You'll never get it right and you'll never get it done. So with those premises, just continue to believe in the fact that progress is all you need. All you need is progress in digging deeper and finding out the person that you are and what makes you kick. And in some cases, building a business that guides and supports you where you're at, living authentically and fulfilling the rest of your life. So let's break this down. What does authentically, sorry, I mean, not what, why does authentically even matter? Well, it's easier to be yourself than putting so much energy and effort in being somebody you're not, than putting so much time and effort in pleasing other people because you think this is the way that they want you to be. When in reality, the energy it requires to continuously analyze situations and people so that you can respond appropriately is insane. It is insane. When somebody is authentic, we look at them and we feel their honesty, their confidence, and most likely we wish we can do the same. See, when somebody's authentic in your space, even by hearing this message or by watching this on YouTube, when somebody's authentic in your space, it gives you permission to also be authentic. Authentic people are great to be around. They speak their truth, they are happy, they are genuine. Well, in most cases, not in all cases, in most cases. And you can really feel that synergy. For those that are watching, I'm actually using my hands, but I can't think of another word besides exhume from them. It radiates off of them when they are being authentic and you are drawn into that space. There is a time, even for a brief second, with your subconscious mind, that self actualization and simply being your best is so meaningful and easier than you ever thought was possible. You know, if you're one of the ones who are on a journey of becoming your authentic self, you are certainly in the right place. I've put together some guidelines, some guideposts, if you would, some areas that you can ask yourself some questions to dig a little deeper. And I would encourage you to screenshot a question that you like so you know where to come back to it. There are four different pillars to being your authentic self, and having a roadmap to how to achieve that is going to help you step into you. I know that sounds weird. It's going to help you step into you, the you that's hiding. That's the you that's hiding underneath those layers that thought you thought was safe. And I'm not saying it's not safe, but if you're on that journey, it's definitely time to let that part of you come free. We're also going to dive a little bit into hobbies. You see, in the midst of our busy lives, it's essential to carve out time for self-care. We know this. You know, we're in 2025. Self-care is no longer a mystery. And although we can say we didn't see our parents mimic this, or we didn't see our grandparents, or this wasn't taught in school, this is no longer an excuse. Whew, need a drink. Starbucks, my friends. My daughter came home to surprise me. She surprised both of us. He got a caramel macchiato, and I'm getting a London fog with cinnamon on top. Mm. So, one of the most powerful ways to achieve being authentic is through our hobbies. Hobbies is not only providing a welcome escape from the demands of day-to-day life, but it also serves as a means to nurture and express our individuality. When you're in the space of growing, when you're in the space of learning a little bit more about what you like and what you don't like in your self-care and your hobbies, you want to have an open mind. You want to understand the role that hobbies play and how this is going to help you connect and identify with the true version of you that is hiding deep inside. I know for me, the more I work out, the more I nurture my body with the right foods and fuel, the more I dress in dresses because they make me feel good, or I'm even out in the sun. Those are things that really, really, really make me feel good. And when I feel good, my authentic self shines through. And hobbies play a vital, vital, vital role in that. So we're going to circle back to hobbies after. I'm going to save that for the very end. Now we're going to tap into those four pillars that I shared with you a little bit earlier. These are good. These are really good. So I love this quote by William Schultz. As my awareness increases, my control over my being increases. So true. So, of the four pillars, the first one is self awareness. It all begins really with self awareness. If you're realizing that you're not fully being authentic, or that something's off, or that maybe your vibe isn't vibing the way it normally does, then it would be wise to start by increasing your self awareness as to why. Grab your journal, itch your nose, excuse me for a second, reflect on any of these questions, okay? Who are you having a difficult time being yourself with? And why do you think that is? When do you catch yourself shrinking and almost disappearing? What is the reason for this? We talked about this one in my Bible study, and I talked about this one on my last podcast where I self-silenced and why. So if you want some of my reasons, go back and listen to episode 184. When are you stressed out? What stresses you out? Why is it that you are stressed out? Who do you have a hard time saying no to? Especially somebody that you would like to say no to. And what is it that you are so afraid of? And what's the worst that can happen? That's a hard one for me. pushed past this earlier this week when I had a heavy conversation surrounding money. And it wasn't comfortable for me. I actually have to break through some generational curses and some generational trauma, even of my own generations from, wow, 3 decades ago, like when I was in my 20s and 30s and 40s. I had to break through this, plus my whole childhood. So, what are you so afraid of? What stresses you out? And what area of your life do you feel you lack being authentic? Where do you feel that you might be living outside of integrity? Yeah, those are great points. You see, self awareness is the key to any change. Avoid judging yourself through this. So, when you're journaling, give yourself grace, even if you write that down as an intention. As I go through these questions, I am giving myself grace for whatever comes up. I will write these things, these feelings, these thoughts down without judgment on myself. Remember the four agreements. Um, the four agreements. I'm losing my train of thought here and I'm turning around for 1 second, but this is the book, Don McGill Ruiz. And the first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. And that holds true when you're doing this exercise. You are taking time to simply observe yourself as a bystander. Do, I guess, the airplane, as if you're an airplane zoning out, and observe your feelings, your actions, and let's get you out of autopilot. See, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. In this journey, once you start it, become very, very, very addictive. I am just saying. All right, this second pillar, self-discovery. Self-discovery is about figuring out who you are and what you desire out of life, what your values are, and what's most important to you right here, right now. Values are hard. Sometimes you need to work with a coach to help you figure out your values. Sometimes you really need to think about what's at your life right here, right now. I recently did this exercise, and from creating my values, I then created goals. And I have 5 values, which I'm willing to share, and then I can help you go through yours if you're looking for that kind of support. My values are financial security, creativity, flexibility, being in the leadership role, and knowing in my heart of hearts that I am meant to be mentoring and inspiring. Those values make me happy. When those things are in alignment, all of those things, I'm very happy. And it's not about serving, it's not about making money, it's about aligning my values with the person I am right here, right now. And being able to say these things. It's about discovering your talents, what you love to do, and simply being curious as to who you are right here, right now, so you can make decisions about what's most important to you. Now, the benefit to the values I put together is they're going to, when I look at my future self and I think of myself backwards and I reverse engineer, these values still hold true. The best version of me, my favorite version of me, she lives by these values. She dresses for success, she has fun, she does her hair, but those are not as important as these 5 values. Those might fall into creativity or inspiration, or maybe even being in a leadership role, because those things put me in a leadership role. Think about it. Think about the last time you saw somebody in sloppy sweats. Did you think of them as much of a leader? Did you aspire to be like them? Maybe if they are lounging on a Sunday or in an evening or after work. But I mean, outside of that, is this your goal? So your values want to align with what your future self looks like. and what's most important to you so you can make the right decisions. Hypothetically, if you're looking for a job, if you're looking for work, you want to have your values set. If you're looking for a partner in life, you want to have your values set because you're going to go through the exercise of dating, for instance, or even going on interviews, and you're not sure about what it is that you want or don't want. With your values, you're going to know a little bit more. So, with self discovery, these questions I'm about to go over with you, I really want you to lean into these ones. This is the second pillar. And a few questions that could enhance your channel of self discovery is when you're thinking about your personality traits. Do you think you're funny, shy, intelligent, introverted, secretly flamboyant, predictable, giving, athletic, direct, methodological? How would you describe yourself? For years, I've described myself as an athletic geek, somebody who leads by example. Um, that's me, right? Did you discover negative traits? Any negative traits that you might have, like selfishness, being blunt, being lazy, being compulsive, being a false person, not being authentic? Are you selfish? Are you gullible? Are you vindictive? Are you naive? Are you moody? Are you all over the board? Do you always express those traits? Be real. Or do you express those traits once a month? I have a story about my ex-husband, and I don't speak about them very often unless, course correcting, or I know they came up in the last episode when I was talking about hiding and self-silencing. But in this case, my second my second ex-husband, so my husband, had said to me once, we were talking about my period and me being moody. And I looked at him and I said, so, when it comes to my cycle, how moody am I? How bad am I? Because you don't really realize it when you're going through the motions, right? You just sometimes realize that something's off, and you know, you're not yourself. And sometimes you don't even want to be in your own skin, ladies. I get that. And menopause and perimenopause, not much different. Just saying. But he said to me, he's like, no, you really only have like one bad day throughout your cycle or a bit before your cycle. Like my PMS was bad one day. And I'm like, great, great. And he's like, great. I'm like, great. 12 out of 365. High five. You really can't complain. If you have a wife who is great the rest of the year, with the exception of 12 moody days. Okay. So put things into perspective. What would you love to do? For those that are catching the YouTube version, I am still using one of my Valentine's Day pens with a super fluffy heart, and I am bouncing it around in my hands. And for those that don't know, that means I am a type 1 energy. If you've ever done my Essentially You workshop, I help you identify your energy types. And guys, I'm a type 1. Okay, sidebar. Let's get back. What do you love to do? Take this. Take your pen. Magic wand. Grab a new page. Put what I love to do, a heart around it, a cloud around it, and write down things however you want. Do a mind dump, a brain dump with some of the things that you love to do. Now grab a different color and write down some of the things the future self version of you loves to do. Okay, I want to challenge you here. What do you despise? What are your dreams and aspirations? What are your biggest challenges lately, and what are you going to do about it? It's a good one, especially if you're on a healing journey and everything feels like much. I had 4 injections in my head last week. So for those that are new, I have inflamed nerves in my head, and I've been on this healing journey for almost 2 years now. It'll be 2 years in May, which means I have spent a lot of time in my head. I have spent a lot of time trying to figure out why and what's going on. And last week, it's been not even a week, I've had 4 needles in my head, 3 kind of above my eyebrows to the back. If you're watching this, it's not far from where my my clip is, and then one behind my ear. And that's a challenge. It's a challenge in so many areas of my life. So, what can I do about it right here, right now? And today I'm feeling good. And yesterday I was feeling good. So maybe these injections are working, but I still have these challenges and I still have this challenge in my head. So, what can be done? Well, if I go back to my values, I can get more clients that fit those roles, or maybe I could get a job that fits those roles. And I'm just talking hypothetically here because you guys all know my heart's in my business. But it doesn't mean it's the only option for me right now. Last point of this pillar. Or last question for you to ponder. What are 25 things that make you smile? Now, off the top of my head, I don't think I can think of 25, but burning a candle that is clear in my office so I can look at the flame. The smell of cinnamon in my morning coffee, that first sip of coffee, my dog Hannah, the silly ooh la la sign makes me happy. This pen makes me happy with the heart. Music makes me smile. Going to church makes me smile, and this is new for me. Going to Aquafit, being in part of that community makes me smile. Folks, there's 10 things, and it took me, what, 30 seconds? I want you to write down 25 things that make you smile. I'd love for you to share that list with me. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to have you message me 25 things that make you smile. Okay. I love painting, being with my grandson. Okay, so I've got a few things here. You see, it's all about discovering the good, the bad, the ugly, and gaining insight about what works best for you and what helps you feel like you are living a fulfilling life. Again, no judgment. It is what it is. Discovering all that we are, all that we've been through, and all that we're going to be is fuel for you to change in the direction that you want to be in and to release what is no longer working for you. I'm going to make this all make sense. Don't worry. Don't you worry. See, what self acceptance does is it opens up more possibilities for succeeding because you aren't fighting yourself along the way. So, number three, third pillar, and of course, something shiny on my lips. Sidebar. I need this little insert, tab insert, sidebar, sidebar, sidebar. But you guys know I'm being authentic, I'm keeping it real, and this is what makes me different than you. This is what makes me different than the other podcasts that you listen to. Self acceptance. I feel like a hug on this one, don't you? So, self acceptance is about being able to see the truth behind what the good, the bad, the ugly within yourself without judgment, without fear, but rather with love and compassion and forgiveness. Again, think about my journey. Think about your journey for the last couple of years, whatever it might look like. Now, what if you could fulfill every moment with simply holding space for love, compassion, and forgiveness of all of those things that weren't working, or that you didn't say, or that were not in alignment, or that maybe you took personally? This is where true transformation begins. I believe that every human being contains it all. Humans can be good, bad, ugly, and when we realize that we did something that isn't good or that doesn't serve us, we might avoid all judgment. We might. We have to see that this life experience as an opportunity to simply observe. Let me say that again. We need to see this as an opportunity in life to simply observe ourselves, make amends if needed, find peace, forgive yourself, and to explore compassion and forgiveness. In my book, Your Story Matters, so I will reference both of these books. This is a self love, self awareness workbook. And in here, I have the Hoponono prayer, and I have said it several times. I have mentioned it several times. I referred to it several times. I actually have this written down on my affirmation wall. And it's on page 17 if you have this book. And if you don't, it's available on Amazon. It says the Ho'oponopono prayer. And I love this right here because when you're able to see the truth of who you are, the self judgment disappears and self love comes in. And in that moment, understanding that you did the best that you could instead of self judgment, you are able to learn and move on. So, Ho'oponopono healing. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. So, if we're all made in the image of Christ, and since we're all made in the image of Christ, I encourage you, I challenge you to say this in front of the mirror and see what happens for a week. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. Look at yourself in the eyeballs. Take off your glasses if you need to, but I want you to look at the color of your eyes, look at the specks in your eyes, and say the sentence to yourself. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me and thank you. Do it for a week and see what happens. It helps you accept because self acceptance is the gateway to accepting others and their life path. Honestly, this is where we can begin practicing Christ consciousness on earth, becoming a vessel of love and truth and goodness on the planet, and actively striving for it because we are starting with ourselves. See, no other love, no matter how genuine it is, can fulfill one's heart better than the unconditional love of self love. I'm going to say that again. No other love, no matter how genuine it is, can fulfill one's heart better than unconditional self love. It's amazing. And that leads us to the fourth pillar, self love. Now, all of the above pillars I talked about are milestones to self love. And self love is the journey we are here to experience. You'll know when you're ready to tap into this. This will be completely your experience. And, I wasn't ready in my 20s, 30s, probably not until my late 40s to tap into this at this level. So collect the information, listen to the podcast, watch the YouTubes, but when you're ready, you'll know. And I encourage you to start where you're at right now and come back to it and see what's changed and how you've evolved. I mean, have you ever reread an old journal? It's epic. It's epic to see what you thought was important at that time. Self love. Let's get back to self love because you know me and my tangents. See, when we have self love, we can then love and accept others' differences, their paths, their flaws, because we know we have them too. And all of this can lead to peace on earth. Sound dreamy? I know it does. However, I will encourage you to focus on just that and observe how your life changes. See who shows up. See the opportunities that emerge naturally for you to live a happier and fulfilling life. Witness your relationships and flourish. Feel a decreased level of stress and judgment and feel free and light in your heart. You see, that's what happens when you become you. You feel these things. You feel naturally like you want to live. You release all judgment. You just accept and love. As the years go by, as they've gone by, I've noticed the greater self love I have, the better version of me keeps on showing up. I guess you could say the authentic me shows up over and over again. And I love that I get to become a model for others so they can be comfortable being themselves too. We have to stop the self criticism and accept that as humans, we're not perfect. Let the ego go. You will have a hard time with that. I have a hard time letting the ego go, but your soul will love you no matter what. So let love rule in your life. Love yourself. Dress for yourself. Make yourself beautiful, whatever that looks like to you, right? That could be making your mind beautiful. That could be reshaping your body by getting on equipment and working out. It could be spending half an hour in nature a week, whatever that looks like, but love yourself. Let love be the ruler of your life. Let yourself love the good, the bad, the ugly, and forgive the ignorance. Forgive the lack of courage that you sometimes have, that you sometimes experience, because that is life, my friend. It is time. It is time to set yourself free and be you. And before we tap into hobbies, I want to remind you that if you're looking for a guide to help you on your journey and to help you align your goals and your values with the person that you are, I encourage you to start by taking my alignment assessment and then booking a free 30-minute discovery call to go over that detailed assessment instead of just reviewing the information I send you. It is so worth the conversation to see what you can get out of it. In the meantime, let's dig into those hobbies. Let's see, let's learn a little bit more about how hobbies can help you with those four pillars. You see, understanding the role of hobbies and how they play a vital role in your life, how hobbies provide an avenue for self expression, relaxation, personal fulfillment, and how engaging in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment, how they allow you to step away from the pleasure. Nope, not pleasure, the pressure of constantly pleasing others. And instead, you're able to reconnect with your own needs and desires. Identifying your passions isn't easy. Take a minute, take some time to reflect on activities to ignite your passion and curiosity. What hobbies have you always wanted to explore? Whether it's painting or gardening or playing a musical instrument, photography, finding hobbies that resonate with you will help you tap into your authentic self. So I've been painting for the last couple of years. It was something that I never thought I could do, but I can tell you putting colors on canvas make a difference for me. It helps me personally. I'm able to throw my emotions and my feelings on there. I might not be able to explain in words how I'm feeling or what's going on, especially in the midst of a flare up or not knowing, but it is certainly something that I can do. It keeps me occupied, it gives me something to do, and it's a creative outlet. It does help me tap into my authentic self. Gardening, I love. Weeding, I don't. Playing a musical instrument, that's actually something Tony's learning to do right now. And it's hard to learn a new hobby in your late 50s. None of this is easy. Even painting, it's only been a couple of years really where I've had canvases and paint and color. But what I'm comfortable with when it comes to my hobbies is exercise. Can't do that all the time, right? Same thing with being in nature. Well, there was a lot of times I couldn't get outside in the winter, just with my head and the colds and triggers. So I had to find other things. And sometimes we need new hobbies to help bridge the gap where we are versus where we want to be. But remember, every time you take a step, a pathway lights up with more lights letting you know what to do next. But that pathway won't show up for you unless you take that first step. So when we're engrossed in a hobby, we enter a state of flow and time seems to stand still and you're completely present in the moment. This mindful immersion in any activity helps alleviate stress, anxiety, and the need to please others. Embrace the state of flow as a way of reconnecting with your inner self and experiment with a sense of fulfillment and whatever that looks like. Because once you experiment and you find the good, that experience is going to show up as a sense of fulfillment. Now, how do we prioritize this personal time? You need to make a conscious effort of prioritizing it. Prioritize time for engaging in hobbies. Set aside dedicated moments in your schedule to pursue activities that bring you joy and peace, or something that you want to try. A friend of mine has been exploring different churches. She's bounced from church to church to church, and I can't say this is a hobby for her. She's looking for spiritual fulfillment. But until she finds it, this is a bit of a hobby. This is a bit of a discovery. Every Sunday, she's going to a different place. She's exploring to see if this works for her. Now, thankfully, she's landed on my church. Or so she thinks she has. She's not 100% sure yet. And that's okay, right? I'm sharing this part with you because we want to set time in our schedule to make this, but we also want to be creative. We want to recognize that pursuing in activities like this will bring you a sense of peace and joy. And recognizing that investing in self care is not selfish, whether you're a male or a female, this is not selfish. It is essential to our overall well being. And then that comes with setting boundaries. So as we set time for ourselves, we need to set boundaries. As we're embarking on our journey to break free from people pleasing tendencies, it is crucial to establish boundaries, to communicate your needs and limitations to others, ensuring that you have enough time and energy to dedicate to your hobbies and self-care. Remember that saying no to others allows you to say yes to yourself. And when you say yes to yourself, you are giving others permission to do the same. That's so important. I even said to Tony when I came downstairs, I'm going to do a podcast. And his answer was, I guess I'm on dinner. And I said, well, the veggies are already roasted and the chicken's done in the air fryer. So, we talked, the boundary was I'm going to be busy. The support was, here's what I've already done. We can use this for dinner. I'm okay with that. So this is what comes up when we set boundaries and creating that time. And sure, this is a podcast, but when I see how much it lights me up, when I'm looking at myself through this recording, I feel so aligned. And that's the important piece. You know, as a holistic health coach, I understand, and I've shared this with you today and on previous podcasts. I understand the challenges of breaking free from people pleasing, people pleasing tendencies. I mean, in my very first book, I guess I'll quote this to you as well. I don't know if it's here or if I'm going to have to pull it off the shelf. Okay, I'll pull it off the shelf. Right here, my very first book was The Power of Yes. And I just couldn't remember offhand, but I love what is said in my very first paragraph. And I'm going to read this to you and then get back. So, yes, this is a little bit of a sidebar. Thriving, not just surviving by Sonia Janice in the book, The Power of Yes. DM me to get your copy. I'm not sure if these are on Amazon. First paragraph. I describe myself as a retired, passive aggressive people pleaser who has spent most of her working life in corporate Canada while raising a family. My time, energy, and attention were always split, and I struggled to find work life balance. I was on autopilot, going through the motions while knowing that there had to be something better. I longed for deeper connections and real conversations, time freedom, balanced energy, and elevated finances. Most importantly, I could not envision my future self in this environment any longer. I needed to find a new way forward. I love this. This was just the beginning of my writing, guys. This was my very first book. I think it was 2020 when I participated in that book. Uh, it speaks volumes to what we're talking about today, doesn't it? I can certainly help you break through where you're at right now. And I offer compassionate and support I meet you where you're at so you can truly explore the underlying causes and develop strategies to help you reclaim your authentic self. You see, hobbies offer a powerful pathway to self care, helping you reclaim your authentic self. But sometimes we just don't know where to start. We're clueless. I never knew throwing color on canvas would be something I look forward to. I never knew doing podcasts would be something I would look forward to. I never knew how much I would geek out about reading personal development books. I mean, I stopped counting last year, but my last couple of years, I've been over 30 personal development books a year. That makes me happy. Um, by engaging in activities that bring you joy, cultivating mindfulness, setting boundaries, and seek professional support when you need it, you can certainly break free from the cycle of people pleasing and learn how to prioritize your own well being. Guys, if you need any other help or support to help you get through this journey, today we talked about the four pillars. We talked a little bit about hobbies. We touched on Christ consciousness because you know now that this is a part of me. And this is a part of me I love to share, and I don't do it enough. We definitely learned so much more about the person that we are just by listening to this. So if you liked what you heard today, please share with a friend. Like, follow, share. You know the drill. I know you know the drill. And come back for more. Make sure you subscribe. Follow me on all my socials. I will make sure that my link tree is here so you can see what I'm up to and take a minute to go and do the alignment assessment. I think it's 3 minutes actually. Remember to message me. I will put my email in there. You can send me a DM on any platform or send me an email, sonyajanice@gmail.com. So first name, last name, SONYAJANISSE@gmail.com. Email me those 25 things that make you smile. And how is being authentically you working for you right now? Bye, guys. Until next time. Thanks for being you. And thank you for holding space for me to be me.